Welcome to the Women Lighthouse podcast, your friendly guide through all the ups and downs of life. We're here to remind you that every woman has the strength to take charge of her journey and make her dreams come true. Each week, we'll share heartwarming stories and helpful tips from amazing women who have faced their own challenges and come out stronger. Tune in, get inspired, and let's start this exciting journey towards achieving your dreams together. The Women Lighthouse, your guide to a brighter tomorrow. Hello, ladies. You're welcome to another episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. It's great to have you tune in today. So today we continue our series, our homeschooling series, and we will be exploring the topic leveraging on homeschool communities. Like I've earlier mentioned, and our guest has also mentioned, that when it comes to homeschooling, community is key for a successful homeschooling experience. And when I say community, basically, by definition, a community is a group of people who have a particular interest in common. So in this case, a homeschooling community is a group of homeschoolers like you and building a relationship with them. So I'll begin by sharing my experience with how I discovered the homeschooling community, which I currently am in. So basically, when I returned back, I relocated back to be with my husband. I was looking for opportunities to basically interact with other mothers who had kids at about the age my child was. As at then, I only had a child. So I think I started checking online, and in the process of checking online, as at then, I wasn't homeschooling, but my son was not yet in school because I was still looking for a school for him, but I hadn't found one. So the whole of that third term, since I was pregnant and I was expecting to deliver during that period, I decided my son wasn't going to attend third term, but the following session, he was going to start school. So for the period of that third term, I was looking for opportunities of him interacting with other kids. Since I just newly come back, I didn't have friends per se in the city, so I decided to check online. In other words, one of the easiest ways for you to discover any homeschooling community around you is to begin your search online. So when I checked online, you know how you would check on Google for things and you may not necessarily get what you want, but by the time you go to your social media page or by the time you go to social media, for instance, in my case, it was Instagram, I started seeing suggestions or like advertisements of a homeschool community. As at then, it wasn't even the homeschool community, but it was more like Abuja. I currently reside in Abuja, so Abuja Stay and Play. That was the name of the co-op. So basically, a group of families residing in Abuja who are looking for opportunities to explore the city. If you want to explore the city of Abuja, go on outings, go on field trips, and all that. They just regularly organize meets and play kind of stuff. So I went to the Instagram page and I checked and I saw, oh, it looks nice. So I decided, okay, I wanted to join the group. So it was basically a virtual community, a paid virtual community. So I paid for it and I joined the group. So in the process of interacting in the group, I discovered that the person that actually created that virtual community, she is a homeschooling mom. So I now discovered the Abuja Homeschoolers group. So and that was a free group. So I joined the group. As at then, I wasn't homeschooling, and that group was basically if you had an intent in homeschooling or you are currently homeschooling. So I didn't join the group immediately. It was after I'd started considering the thought of homeschooling that I joined the group just to like have a rough idea of what homeschooling was about. And one of the best decisions I've made was joining the Abuja Homeschoolers group because it's been insightful. I remember our first meeting where we had, okay, usually we meet at the beginning of an academic session or before the beginning of an academic session. So, like, we meet in August to interact with each other as mothers or parents and also to plan the academic session. So basically give suggestions of places we want to visit during the academic year. So that first meeting, when I went, it was so inspiring in the sense that I met many. I didn't even know we were that many. Homeschooling was a concept that I was new to and I didn't feel a lot of people were doing it. But on that day, I discovered like, wow, this is a big community. There were a lot of mothers. I think we're over like 20 of us. And we got to like share our stories, introduce ourselves, how long you've been homeschooling, why you chose to homeschool, how's the experience been. And I saw people who had been like veteran homeschoolers. Some had homeschooled to the point of their kids going to college and maybe they just had one more child they were homeschooling. So like it was just an awesome experience being able to hear the stories of other mothers that were homeschooling. It was inspiring. It gave me the courage to step out and also to be confident in my decision to homeschool. Because by the time I decided I wanted to homeschool, being that it wasn't something that was so popular, even my mom didn't understand the concept, wasn't so receptive about it. And I just used to stay under the carpet. I wasn't so vocal about the fact that I was homeschooling. So I gained that confidence to like own my journey as a homeschooling mom after that meeting. So that brings me to benefits of being part of a homeschooling community. And the first thing for me is social interaction, both for the children and for the parents. For every time we meet, in our homeschooling community, we meet physically once a month to for our field trips. So we plan our field trips once a month. And at that point in time, the parents, the mothers, you just get to bond, you get to make new friends, you get to share experiences. And every now and then too, in the Abuja stay and play group that I talked about, they organize maybe end of the year hangouts or once in a while, maybe every now and then, an opportunity for there to be like this family hangout. So you come in with your husband, come in with the kids, come in, we play games. We do like a potluck kind of style, like you bring your food, you share and all that. So it's always fun. The field trips, the family hangouts. So it's an opportunity to socialize, an opportunity for your kids to meet other children. So you see why I say that the myth about homeschooling not making you so social, it's not true. It depends on the parental involvement. How willing is the parent to go all out to ensure that there are a lot of social interactions between children and also themselves, because sometimes homeschooling can be overwhelming. Like I know the struggles I've faced, especially with patiently teaching my son. He can be a handful sometimes, and sometimes you get really impatient. But when you have an opportunity to interact, you share your struggles, you share your challenges, you listen to other people's success stories, and you know ways in which you can improve on your homeschooling. Another benefit I've had from being part of a homeschool community is resource sharing. So basically, I know we do this thing about books. So if you have books that are still in relatively good condition, so we organize like an opportunity to sell out some educational resources. Like I know recently someone a homeschooling mother who is done homeschooling and just opened an NGO and needed to raise funds for the NGO. She decided to sell off all her homeschooling resources, books, toys, and all that. And from the proceeds that comes from that sale, channel it into our NGO. So you can see, so resource sharing. So the money you would have spent to buy a brand new toy or a brand new book, you can also have spent lesser to buy a hand-me-down, which is still in relatively good condition. So those opportunities are there. And let's remember that when I talk about community, it's not just physical community. Virtual communities also, these things also apply for virtual communities. So also there's this thing we do where we have like a sort of a sit down hangout for mothers. We come and a professional, a mental health professional comes and talks to us as mothers. We share experiences, teaching strategies, all those kind of stuff. So it's an opportunity to share resources, both physical resources, educational resources, and otherwise. Then another thing I've benefited from being part of a homeschool community is corporate learning. Like I mentioned, we have field trips. So one of the opportunities we have for corporate learning is field trips. Then during some of our field trips, it may not be like excursion based. Sometimes we could organize like spelling bees. So activities basically that are done in school. We could organize spelling bees. We could organize a theater evening where the children are involved in actually putting up a show, a theater show. So that engages both the children and the parents. So there's this opportunity for corporate learning. So that's also another thing I've benefited from being part of a homeschool community. And another thing is support and encouragement. I remember when that meeting I said we had, the first meeting I attended, where we had like a strategy meeting. When we were talking about ourselves, I met a family, and what attracted me to the family is first one of the sisters. She was a medical doctor, but after retirement, she now went straight into farming. So, and I could relate with a lot of the experiences she was sharing. And I just got attracted to the fact that, okay, this was someone in my profession and I could relate with her. And from that opportunity of meeting her, I got her contact and told her that I really, really want to learn a lot from her, that her story was so relatable to me. And we got to hang out as a family. We spoke, she shared her ideas with me, and I was able to implement those ideas, and it was just working for me. And I can tell you that till today, we are still close. Our families are still close. That bond of friendship is still there. And this is someone that is way older than me. Like she's like I call it, she's like my senior, you understand? So she's more like a mentor. So from being part of a homeschooling community, I was able to identify one or two people that I could actually build a strong relationship with, and they were able to provide support and encouragement for every season that I'm facing a challenge. Like I know having to teach my son reading was challenging. I was like, I don't know how to teach him reading. He's not really cooperating and all that. And they now told me how they were able to teach their son reading and the things they were able to do, even to the point of getting a tutor, recommending a tutor. So if you are doing your homeschooling in isolation, you may not get these ideas, you may not get these suggestions, because you may not even get the support and the encouragement you need, because there'll be so many times you'll be faced with situations where you are so discouraged and you just feel like throwing in the towel and going back to regular school. Another way in which being part of a homeschooling community has benefited me is accountability. Accountability. Every now and then, we get to ensure that we stay motivated, we're accountable towards each other. The friends that I've built close relationship with also always get to ask me, how is it going? How is the homeschooling experience going? And I find that I'm accountable to them. So it's easy for me to keep going, knowing that I have people that I'm accountable to and that can ensure that I stay consistent and committed in my homeschooling journey. Also, basically building life skills in our community. For instance, we want to go to a car wash, help in washing of cars, or you want to go. So things you can do in the community, some charitable kind of things that we engage in the community. So when we participate in these group activities, it teaches the children teamwork. There was one time we had like sports day. So it teaches them teamwork, it teaches them leadership skills and all those things. So these are things that regularly you would find in a traditional school setting, but you can also adopt them in the homeschooling setting when you are part of a community. So for homeschooling to be more productive, more fun, interesting, and especially for kids. For the parents, it may not be a big deal, but for the kids, that opportunity to be part of a community goes a long way. So if you're considering homeschooling, one of the first things you should look out for is to be part of a homeschooling community. I know in Nigeria we have for physical homeschool communities. I know there is in Lagos. If you follow Kodo Blog on Instagram, you'll see what she does with the homeschooling community there in Lagos. And here in Abuja, if you follow Adeshola on Instagram, she's raising ID, or you follow Conscious Family Center, you'll see some of the things that she does also with the homeschooling community. So it's important for you to be able to identify both virtual and physical homeschooling communities. And if you're part of a virtual community and where you are, you still cannot find a physical homeschool community, or the one that is available is not so close to where you are, nothing stops you from starting your own. These communities that we're part of now was started by somebody. I know listening to Raising ID, that's Adeshola here in Abuja, listening to her story of how she started Conscious Family Center and the Abuja Homeschoolers Group. It was more like in her parlor. She just came in from the United Kingdom. She relocated to Nigeria. She was already homeschooling, but she needed to connect with other homeschooling mothers. And she just reached out generally, like I think on social media, and like a few people indicated interest. And it started in her parlor. And when the number began to increase, she now had to like get a place, which is now Conscious Family Center. And there she does a whole lot for early years and children 0 to 10 years, lots of activities, and she has grown from there. So it just shows how important being part of a community is. So endeavor to seek out a homeschooling community to make your homeschooling journey easier. So this is my experience being part of a homeschooling community. If you're a homeschooling mom and you have other ideas, or you want to share what benefits being part of a homeschooling community has afforded you, please drop it down in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And we will be seeing you again next week, where we explore another topic on homeschooling. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. We really hope today's episode has given you some great tools, resources, and a boost of confidence to take charge of your journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. You can also follow us on our social media handle for even more tips and a wonderful community that's all about supporting your growth. Join us next time for more uplifting stories and encouraging insights. Until we meet again, keep shining bright, stay inspired, and embrace your unique path to a better tomorrow.